Okay, here's my audience. There you go. All right. A wise woman once said, I believe the most important single thing beyond discipline and creativity is daring to dare. This wise woman was Maya Angelou, a woman near and dear to my heart due to all of her wisdom that she shares. It's often full of transparency, which I really find to be super valuable in this lifetime and all other lifetimes as well. So my name's Morgan. I grew up in a super small town in Virginia with extremely sheltering parents. They were doing their best, but also very sheltering. And so in my younger years, I lived in a little naive world in my own mind, which was fine because experience really does go a long way. But I find that this quote really touches on some things that I think are part of my character. Maybe I could use some more discipline, but the daring to dare part has always stood out to me because stepping out of my comfort zone is one of my favorite ways to grow. So that's how I would like to just introduce this story that I'm going to share here with you and give a little background information about myself and my adventures and how I actually ended up in Colorado. So I used to travel with the Renaissance Fair. I was super in love with the entire fantasy realm. I still am, just can't commit to being on the road with the Renaissance Fair. It's kind of like a giant arts and craft fair, but Renaissance themed, so like Renaissance cosplay. Became really attached to a pack mentality, being that most of the folks on the road travel together all year long, live in campgrounds and campers, stay in one place for 2 months at a time, and then they leave. I got super accustomed to waking up every morning with like 20 of my best friends and having coffee with them. And super, super awesome experiences, but if you're not really focused on yourself, it's kind of hard to get things done when you're always in a big group of people. And at the time in my life, that was something I really needed. But 2020 happened. I'm not going to speak of it, but that's just a little precursor of why I got off the road. So all the fairs shut down, obviously, because group gatherings were not allowed. So I got off the road and I was super lost and a bit confused because I had planned on traveling with the Renaissance Fair for a while and really loved the lifestyle and movement. But there were some goals that I had really been trying to reach and work on that were halted a little bit while I was traveling with my large group of humans. So I landed in Arizona, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Needed to go somewhere, had no idea where I wanted to go. So I just ended up getting in my van one day and driving. I went straight through the middle of Utah, which was super beautiful, into Oregon, and ended up in California. But I'd never actually did any of this alone. I was always with people when I traveled. And this time I just felt like there was a journey that I needed to attend to. So I do believe that daring to dare is a huge part of how I actually even ended up in Colorado. So on my travels, I met some amazing people and kind of just learned where to prioritize myself a little better. And my final stop before Colorado was California. I ended up meeting a girl there whose name was also Morgan and moving into a house in Santa Rosa. And I had really wanted to go to massage school for a while and never been able to stop and like commit to going. And I moved into this house and ended up getting online and finding this really awesome nationally accredited school that was right down the road from me. And I enrolled and was able to start school within like a month of being there, which gave my whole life such new purpose and new meaning. It felt like I was connecting to my true self and was finally able to take the steps in the direction that I wanted to go. And so that's a huge reason why I chose the quote by Maya Angelou today, because if I wouldn't have dared to dare, I wouldn't have never left my comfort zone. I would have stayed close to people I know, and it might have taken longer to reach the goals that I have been able to reach. And without massage, I don't know if I would have came to Colorado. It kind of brought me here, and is still a huge part of my life. It's always going to be. But I truly believe that if you allow yourself to just wiggle a little out of those boundaries you give yourself, sometimes it's for good, and most of the time it is. You obviously know your own structures and what you should and shouldn't do, but comfort zones are there for us to grow. So that's just a little tidbit of information about myself and a little background on my story. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm super excited to continue sharing pieces of who I am with you guys, and also getting to learn about you too. So have a great week. Thank you.